Hello guys, welcome back. In this lecture, we will create another feature spec that will stimulate the login feature of users using both email and username. Okay, so let's start doing that. So first open the test.rb from config environments. So go to the config directory and from the config environments, open this test.rb. Okay, and here we need to set the default URL option. So come to the bottom of the file and here what we need to do, rails.application dot routes dot default URL options. So rails.application.routes.default URL options, and here we need to provide host and sorry host, and what our host for the development and test environment is localhost 3000, localhost colon 3000. Okay, and save the test.rb. Now as the next step, come to the terminal and generate a new feature spec using the rspec for login the user. Okay, so come to the terminal and here what we need to do, rails g rspec and then feature, and you can name your feature spec, let's say session spec or authentication spec or login spec. So for now I am using the rails g rspec feature login. Okay, and it will create a login spec.rb within the spec feature. So open the spec features. Okay, I mean this login spec from the spec features. Okay, and now first remove this pending line because we need to write our examples here. Okay, and then what we will do, that first we will create a describe block to add our example group. Okay, so here you can use describe and then provide its login name to its login. Okay, and then do. Okay, and now in this example group we need to write our example using it block. So first we will write a spec for signing in user with their username. Okay, so here add a it block and then provide the statement here, that is it should log in user with username. Okay, should log in user with username. Okay, do and now in this it block, first we need to create a user with all required attributes like email, username, password, first name, last name, and profile title. Okay, so create a user. So what we can do, user equal to user dot create. Okay, and here we need to provide values for it. So we will provide, let's say, email. You can provide email at the rate user at the rate example.com. Provide password, and password is, let's say, password. Username, let's say example user. Then first name, example. Last name is user, and then profile title is, let's say, senior Ruby on Rails developer. Okay, and then add confirmed add is date time dot now. Okay, and save it. Make sure to set the confirmed add to date time dot now, because since we enabled the device confirmable module in our project, so user will not be able to log in without confirming their account. But for this lecture, since we are only focusing the login users, so we will enforce confirmation by datetime dot now. Okay, now let's visit the root path after creating the user. Okay, so what we need to do here, visit root path. Okay, and then we need to fill the values in the login and password fields. So first we need to get the IDs of the input fields that we want to insert values in. Okay, so for example, first switch to the browser and here you can see that on the login page we have two attributes, email or username and password. Now we need to get the IDs or selectors of these attributes. So first what we can do, just inspect this and here you can get the id. So just close this line and here you can see that what is the id of this email or username, that is user login, and what is the id of the password field, that should be user password. Okay, so now we need to use both of these selectors of the form. So switch to the spec again, and now we need to use the fill in method provided by capybara. Okay, so fill in, and then provide the let's say email. So user login, sorry, email or username fields id, so user login, and then provide its value with option, so with user dot username. Okay, and then fill in user password with user dot password, user dot password. Okay, and here you can see that fill in method requires two arguments. One is the selector of the input field, and other is the value that we want to provide. Okay, and you must pass values using with option. Okay, now let's click on the login button. Okay, because after providing the value in the form field, what we will do, we will click on the submit button. So let's click on the login button, so we can use the capybara helper method, that is click button, and then you need to provide the button text, that is login in our case. Okay, if you have choose another button text, then you need to provide that value here, so login in this case. Okay, and if the user signed in successfully into the system, then we need to display some text and links for verifying this. Okay, so first we will expect all header links to be present here. Okay, so what the header links we have, so you can go to the shared directory into the app views, and you can open the header. So here you can see that if user is signed in, then what links we are showing: my profile, my network, okay, and the sign out links, and we by default we have dev community link. Okay, so we need to go to this login spec, and then we need to do you can copy some expect statements from here. So just copy this, let's copy all these links and paste it here. So what we can do, we can use developer community or dev community, and then my profile, and here my network. Okay, and then you can add another link as sign out, sign out. Okay, now we need to expect some text. Okay, so when user gets sign in into the system, what we will do, that in the index section you can see that we are displaying this text, that is search professional across the world. Okay, let me fix this typo here. It should be ACROSS. Okay, so we will expect this typo, so just copy this, and what we need to do, that if user is signed in, then we need to display expect page dot to have text, page dot to have text, and then we can display this one. Okay, search professional across the world. Okay, and similarly we can do other expect statements like since when user get signed in into the system, then it will see a first user that is created as user card. Okay, so have text, and here we can do user dot name. Okay, and then user dot profile title. Okay, so just paste it here, profile title. Okay, and that's it. Now add the debugger to halt the page to see if the user signed in successfully. Okay, so what we can do, we can just add the debugger. Okay, and that's it for this spec. Now save it and come to the terminal to run this spec. Okay, so first switch to the terminal, and here what we need to do, that we need to execute login spec. So bundle exec rspec spec features and login spec. Okay, and when you run this, you will see that the spec is open into the browser, and here you can see what it is showing in the test environment: dev community, my profile, my network, sign out, and search professional across the world, and the user card. So it is the user name, and this is the user profile title. Okay, and now you can exit from the spec. So here you can see the one example, zero failure. Okay, so this will, yeah, sorry, this will stimulate the sign in process with users username. Okay, now we can replicate the similar spec to sign in with the email. Okay, so what we can do, that we can just copy this it block. Okay, so just copy this it block and then you can put it here, and here you can replace this should, sorry, fix this typo. This should login user with email. Paste it here, change it here, and here what you need to fill in that user dot email. Okay, and now you need to run the same spec. So go to the browser and you can run this spec with its line number. So go to the terminal and run it with line number 32. Here you can see that we have line number 32. Okay, and then press the enter here. Now you can see that in the terminal you are still able to sign in with the email as well. Okay, so you can see search professional across the world and so on. Okay, so just exit this debugger, and now you will see one example, zero failure. Okay, and now if you want to see more detail before that with how this filling the attributes, so you can uh, place the debugger before the click button text. Okay, and why it is not showing the running test in the browser, because I'm sharing the screen, so there is some issue with the screen sharing. So let's run at the debugger here and now run this spec. So when you run this spec now, you will see in the browser that it has filled the information as user@example.com and it is password. Now if you exit from the debugger, you will see one example, zero failures. Okay, so here we added feature spec for stimulating the login feature of users using both username and email, and that's all from this lecture. So now since the spec is working, so you can remove the debugger from all the specs. Okay, so remove this debuggers. Okay, and that's all from this lecture. Now in the next lecture we will refactor this spec. As you can see right now, both specs look almost similar. Here you can see that this is the user should log in with email, so you can see that we have everything similar except this fill in text. That is, here we are providing user.email and here we are providing user.username, and except this everything is similar. Okay, so in the next lecture we will refactor this spec, okay, and make it better in terms of code. Meanwhile, try this lecture at your end and we will meet into the next lecture. Till then, tata, goodbye, take care and stay safe.